an advanced species might not have any evidence that it leaves behind. But there is lots of evidence for it, actually. We have submarine navies all over the world that when they're out there patrolling the seas, they see things. They sense and their sonars, they pick up things. There's a lot of reports from many navies about unknown submerged objects, the ones we talked about earlier, you said. But for UFOs, there's a ton of data out there, a ton of artifacts, a ton of evidence that is seen by people. And as MUFON's chief photo analyst, I'm very, very hard on the data. Very hard on the data. And just today, I saw a video of a UFO taken by a U.S. drone over Iraq looking down at the ground, and this spherical object flew through. Now, if that was in the United States, I would say that was a Mylar balloon, because it looked like a Mylar balloon, sort of, but not really. It was too perfectly round. But this is in Iraq. And as far as having Mylar balloons in Iraq, I don't know how many Mylar balloons there are in Iraq and how many people might have one of those party balloons in Iraq. Maybe there are, but I don't know that yet. So that keeps this video very intriguing for me. Okay, so that's the kind of evidence we see as well. Now, the other evidence is technological evidence. How do I begin this? There's a number of ways in which a unidentified object, a craft from another world, can use technology to get here from there. It's a vast universe, obviously. So it's that gigantic distance that makes people say, how could they possibly be here? Well, they can. And I lecture on this. In fact, that's my lecture at Contact in the Desert coming up. I lecture on in layman's terms, how a certain technology that's related to a theory we have of the universe called string theory can be leveraged by an advanced civilization to actually get here from there in a very short time. It's not the warp drive thing, not the Alcubierre drive, which you may have heard about, which is a warp drive where they warp space, then they unfold it. It's not that at all. It's very different. It's dimensional travel. Now, there's a certain variation of string theory. It's called RS1. That's the designations, And in RS1, we have our X, Y, and Z movement through time, right? Our 4 dimensions, X, Y, and Z, and time is also a dimension. And we live on that universe, right? That's our universe, and that's all here. But there's a 5th dimension down here that is right next to us, that if we can go from here into here, the benefit of being here is that the whole universe is compressed around you. Everything is condensed. Everything is smaller. Distances are shorter. So that would give you the opportunity to use a technology to, say, punch out of our 4 dimensions, go into this 5th dimension, and then punch in anywhere else you want to go at will. And that means you can eat up tons of light years in a very short time and go distant places. And I'm not the only one that thinks about this, actually. There's a guy, my good friend, Bob Schroeder, he wrote the book Solving the UFO Enigma. This was a theory he had. And when I read his work, I realized, wow, Bob, you're onto something. And so I started championing and looking into it and saw that this was something very possible. So technologically, what would you see, if this technology was in play? Well, one of the byproducts is that your UFO, all right, would look like it's shimmering. We get reports of that all the time. It would look like it's changing colors. We get reports of that all the time. It would look like it's vanishing from here and suddenly reappearing over here. We get reports of that all the time, too. So is that hard evidence? No, because all 3 of those things I could tell you there are reasons from human anatomy, okay, to astronomical reasons why you see things that way in the sky. However, we can't discount the fact that it could be that we're watching an advanced technology at play right here in our local space.